Live from our cryptid camper, I'm Shae, here with my good friend Tom, and we'd like to thank you for joining us for Season 1, Episode 1 of Scare Your Pants Off, our American road trip. In today's episode, we're setting up camp in Massachusetts. How you doing today, Tom?
I am awesome. How are you?
I'm really, really good. I'm super excited to be doing this finally, recording our first episode. What have you been
Yes.
up to?
I just work a lot. That's like my life right now. It's summertime. People are on vacation, so we have a lot of like overtime and but yeah, and then like you said, having so much fun researching this show. I'm very excited for this season of Scare Your Parents Off. It's going to be a lot of fun. What have you been
Yep.
up to?
I have so I've been on COVID leave because I've had some symptoms. I'm fine. I've had mild symptoms, thankfully, but so just kind of being in my house and being in my house. Just
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah.
that's crazy what you were telling me off camera. That's yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
When does it end?
Thursday, my leave officially ends, and I'm back to work Friday.
Oh, okay. So,
Yep.
um,
So
yeah, wow. I'm glad you're not feeling too bad.
me
So
too.
I mean, because it's yeah, I know a lot of people really struggling, and I hear numbers are spiking back up, and there's new variants now. Some guy was talking about a mu variant, and just oh geez. So yes.
Someday.
What's that?
Someday it'll be over. Someday.
Yeah, someday. Hopefully.
So you got a do you have a good cryptid for me today, Tom?
I certainly do. I certainly do. And it's so yeah, so like I was saying, I have been having so much fun researching this, and we're in Massachusetts, and Shae is a cryptid lover. I mean, I love all this stuff, but Shae absolutely just adores. I can't think of a word that describes her passion for cryptids. So I've been having so much fun on the episodes where I do the research on the cryptids, because it's like I'm learning a lot, and then like I can't wait because I'm sure she's heard of most of them, and I'm hoping to kind of find some that she hasn't heard of or whatever, or doesn't know too much about, because yeah, there's a lot of great ones. So like I could have chosen from the Thunderbirds, or like I like the pterodactyl like things. I could have picked
Yes.
some of the sea serpents. I could have picked the Dover demon, um, or the beast of Truro. But we're in Massachusetts. It's the debut episode. It's Shae's home state.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to go with the classic Puckwudgie.
Oh, yes, you did. I'm so excited. That's my favorite. Well, for here, it's my favorite. I love the puck wedgie. I'm so glad. All right, cool. Tell me about him. What do you got?
So the Puckwudgie he's human like, and he's short in stature, very short in stature. Some say completely covered in hair, but he's bipedal, and people claim to see Puckwudgies near woods. Either driving down the road, seeing in the woods, and they people have claimed that when they see the Puckwudgie is trying to get them to come into the woods, because the Puckwudgie, it's said from native folklore that at one time they were friendly with the Native Americans, and then they had a falling out, and so they've been at war ever since. And so they're trying to lure people in, because they're kind of like tricksters, and they're trying to lure them in to do something something a little nefarious. So and that's sort of, yeah, that is a Puckwudgie.
I so what's really hard about the way we do this show is there are some states that I get to do the haunting in, which is super exciting, but that means that there are some states that I don't get to do the cryptid in, which is really devastating. But My goodness, I'm so glad you picked the Pukwudgie because if I had Massachusetts, that would have been what I picked because I love it. So when you're picturing the Pukwudgie, do you picture anything in particular?
So for me, it's funny because when I picture it, it to me, it's in cartoon-ish form that I always picture him for some reason, and and it's just for me, it's almost like a super. And I don't know if you remember Captain Caveman.
Yes.
So a super hairy Captain Caveman is sort of what I picture in my head, and it's like I've seen other description and explanation, in even other illustrations, but that was sort of an illustration I saw, and I don't know why Captain Caveman came in and I was just like that is, but human like, you know what I mean, and so yeah, that's kind of what I picture. What do you picture?
I so and I don't know why. So obviously I've known about the Pukwudgie. I don't ever remember a point where I didn't know about the Pukwudgie from even a young age. I've always been into the really odd and kind of mysterious things, and the Pukwudgie to me for some reason looks like a garden gnome. I don't know why, but in my head he's a garden gnome, and I
I
love
can
it.
see it. I can totally see that. I can totally, yep. The garden gnomes, like for people out there, that you see in people's yards. You don't see those as much anymore.
No,
The garden, like for a little while, they were like everywhere. Everybody seemed to have garden gnomes, but yeah, it's not so big. But yeah, I can totally see that. Totally
so
see.
it's really funny because I actually think I might know why I feel like that, and there's a creepiness to the Pukwudgie, obviously, because he's just this little apparently garden gnome looking thing that stalks Massachusetts. But when I was really little, like 4ish, 5 years old, my grandmother had collected gnomes, not outside, in her house, all over the place, on every shelf, everywhere. Just gnomes that stared at you. There were gnomes, Tom. There were gnomes in the bathroom. I kid you, yes. I'm not even kidding. So I actually lived with her for a long time. Well, not a long time, a couple years, but long in when you're younger. Um, but I remember I would come out of my room and there was these fucking gnomes
Oh,
everywhere, and it was terrifying. So I
oh,
think I might associate anything little and human-ish, like bipedal, to be a garden gnome. So that might be the root of it.
that's hilarious and terrifying at the same time because
Yes.
it makes me think of I've been in people's houses that collect dolls and
Oof.
but like insane amount of and yeah, and then you just walk in rooms and it's just like 1,000 eyes staring at you all
Yeah.
at the it's yeah that's unpleasant for sure or
It's yeah.
sure. But yeah, so like I said, I had to pick the Pukwudgie, and I am so glad that you liked it. Is there anything you think I missed, or do you want to talk about on this Pukwudgie?
Well, so maybe I just want to add two things. So
Yeah, as much as you want, as much as you
I
want.
think you said that he frequents, or they frequent, I guess it could be more than one, the Freetown Fall River State Forest, which is part of the Bridgewater Triangle and the Hockomock Swamp. I also actually want to ask anybody listening that if you have any artistic talent, a little, a lot, doesn't matter. If you have in your head what you think a Pukwudgie looks like, we're going to drop our email below. Send us a picture. We'll share it. We'll post it. We'll do all that stuff. And I love fan art, and I love everybody's view of different things. So please send us away. I love to see all your creations, and I'm sure Tom would too.
Indeed, I would. Please, yes. Like she said, we will drop the email below. And send us anything, any questions, anything you want. You send it to us. But please, if you have some drawings or renderings of what you think a Pukwudgie or anything we talk about is like, please send it, and we'll display it on the show, talk about it, and display it on a future episode. And yes, thank you very much.
Perfect. All right. So
All right.
I get to do the haunting of my home state, which I'm super excited about. I absolutely love how much history there is in Massachusetts. You can't throw a rock and not hit something historical or haunted, or both, usually. And so it's actually really hard for me to pick what I wanted to do. And I happened to take a trip to Salem, and then it dawned on me what I wanted to do. So I actually want to talk about a spot I'm absolutely enamored with, and it's, you're going to laugh, Bunghole Liquors. I will tell you before I start this conversation that if you can't see me, my smile is rather big every time I'm saying that word, and I'm probably going to giggle just a little because I'm 5. So there you go. But I'm going to start telling you about Bunghole Liquors. So in the early 1900s, the now well-known liquor store began its long life first as a funeral home, which already I'm sold, I'm there.
Yeah.
Right? So I will say that in all of my research, I could not find the name of this funeral home. I looked in every way I could possibly think. I can't find the name of it.
Well, this was early 1900s, so record keeping isn't what it is today, and stuff. But that's unfortunate. But that's strange too. Kind of strange.
And if anybody does know it, please, again, email us, let us know, because I'm curious.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it was a funeral home. I'd like to fast forward a little bit to January 17th of 1920. Do you know about that date, Tom?
No, I don't.
That's the start of Prohibition.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right.
So, I'm sure everybody knows what Prohibition is, but just on the off chance you don't, I'm just going to really quickly tell you, it's actually when they banned the sale, production, and consumption of all intoxicating alcohol, liquids or alcohols.
Crazy.
So during this time, more than a decade, mind you, Prohibition led to enormous uptick in crime associated with bootlegging. And bootlegging is the illegal manufacturing and sale of alcohol. I'm going to take you out of Massachusetts just for a quick second because I feel like this point is so important to make.
Okay.
You know who Al Capone is, obviously, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You know, he made 60 million annually through bootlegging for 1920.
Oh my God, that's got to be like what? That's got to be close to $1 billion in today's money or something. I mean,
it would have to.
I have no idea, people. I just threw out a but. I mean, 60 million in 1920. Wow.
Yes, wow. I know.
That's insane.
So I'm gonna pull you back to the bunghole. I told you it was gonna happen. It's fine. So do you happen to know what a bunghole is?
Okay, so not what you're referring to. So I know the Beavis and Butthead sort of, but as a technical term, I am not familiar with bunghole. No.
Okay, so a bunghole is a hole in a cask or a barrel from which liquor is poured.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh,
so bunghole. During Prohibition, the owner of this funeral home decided to open his doors to anybody who is seeking to consume the now banned beverages.
Mm-hmm.
So the funeral home is right near Salem Wharf. It's on Derby Street, and there's a wharf almost across the street. So he turned the funeral home into a secret bar, and Salem is rumored to have an underground tunnel system running below it.
Oh, really? Like all of Salem, or just that?
Depends where you read.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That'd be really cool to explore. Oh, wow, very interesting.
So the portion of these tunnels that was beneath the funeral home actually connected to the wharf, which made it super convenient and effective for obtaining bootleg alcohol.
Makes sense.
Pa-
Makes sense.
yeah.
Smart.
Patrons of this bar would often say, "Let's meet at the bunghole." And this would eventually become the name of Bunghole Liquors due to the recommendation of actually one of the owner's family members. Sorry. Whilst consuming, patrons would convene amongst the corpses of fellow Salemites. And I did look that up, and apparently they are Salemites. I didn't know if they were Salemitonians. I don't even know how you would say that, but they're
Salem
Salemites.
Aniac.
Yeah, I like that one actually. So can you picture that? Just hanging out next to corpses with embalming equipment, the smell of formaldehyde or whatever they use, and the bodies
Yeah,
alone.
that seems like it'd be like pretty unpleasant.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's cold, so that would probably help with like stench and stuff or whatever. But
yeah.
other than that, and plus it's just kind of morbid. Like, I mean, I understand you want to drink, and it's prohibition, and it was like I know a little bit about prohibition. I didn't know the dates, but you know what I mean. And it's like I know it was a crazy time in America, and kind of like a little bit of insanity that the government did that, and but I still don't know if I'd be drinking next to like dead bodies and stuff, plus just sort of the like I don't know, the bad karma or juju I would feel like from
I get that.
um if that makes sense. Yeah.
It does, but I'm gonna actually maybe give you a different perspective to think about. So
Okay.
you got to think these people that are in this secret bar and they're drinking, they're actually very likely drinking amongst friends or neighbors, family members, people they know, because there wasn't funeral homes all over the place. They weren't like Dunkin' Donuts is now. It's pretty much stands to reason that there's a good chance you were drinking with your friends. So it's almost like having one last hurrah or celebrating life, maybe.
Okay. I can go on that ride with you. Yeah, that's no, I like it. Like a celebration of their life almost,
Yeah.
if it's the yeah. All right.
You never know. It's just another
Yeah.
way to look at it, I
No,
guess. It is creepy, but
that's a great perspective. I like it a lot.
so finally on December 5th of 1933, I can't believe how long this lasted.
Insane.
Prohibition finally came to an end, and the bunghole would receive Salem's second liquor license,
That's
which is
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yep. So there's been some remodeling
okay.
since then, obviously, because
Yeah.
otherwise things would crumble and fall apart.
Yeah.
And it is said that there are claims of whispering, some soft laughter, maybe the sounds of patrons possibly enjoying themselves from the past. And there's a possibility because they've put up walls in the basement for storage and whatnot. It's possible that behind these walls you might find some flasks or some glasses or embalming equipment or anything. But I know it's not maybe paranormally the most haunted place in Massachusetts. One of my favorite histories ever in Massachusetts. So I was actually super glad I got to do this. But that is what I have.
Very cool. I love it. I love it. So it's yeah, that I mean, it stands to reason why that place would be haunted for sure. You know what I mean? All that, everything going on. I love it. This was fascinating. Thank you, because I knew nothing about this, so I like this. So that's a lot of fun because, like Shae said, there is so much to choose. She's from Mass. I'm from Rhode Island, and this is an older part of the country. There's so much potential hauntings to choose from here, and we're both nerds about this, so we know a lot of them. So that was really interesting to learn about and learn what a bunghole is. Yeah, that's really cool. I would like to next time I'm in Salem. I want to go to Salem this fall if the
Yes.
COVID, everything is, you know what I mean? If it's safe to go, I would like to go to Salem. That definitely be a place I'd like to check out because Salem is so much fun too. It's
If you do happen to go to the bunghole, I will tell you that they actually sell T-shirts and hats and just stuff really very in a fun way putting where you can get your liquor.
Nice. All right. Yeah. So I definitely will stop by and maybe wear a shirt on a later episode or something. Because
Love it.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Salem is so much fun. It's so much fun. Just so much good history there, and haunts and darkness, and um, yes, that was awesome. Thank you, Shae. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess next up we get into Strange Encounters. So, all right. So again, a lot to choose from here, and in this as far as Strange Encounters go. So, yeah, I could have picked from hundreds and hundreds of different cases and incidents and sightings and whatever. But I had to go with it's one of the more famous ones. It's been documented on some television shows in the more recent years, I believe, even the Unsolved Mysteries. I am gonna talk about the 1969 Berkshire UFO incident. Have you ever heard of it, Shae?
So I will tell you that I've heard of it, but honestly, I don't know much about it. What do you got for me?
All right, so this is again, it's a UFO incident, and just so people know, I have just more recently been getting into the whole alien stuff. We're nerds for all this paranormal stuff, and I was doing another paranormal show, and I started just seeing more and more other paranormal stuff and aliens, which I was never really into. Or UFOs, it just really wasn't my thing. But then I started reading more, and then there's these just more stuff happening in the news recently, and I started becoming more and more interested in the whole UFO aspect of paranormal stuff. So yeah, so this is the 1969 Berkshire UFO incident. It happened on September 1st, and over 40 people reported almost the exact same thing. And these are people from some different towns, different families, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just 40 people at a party saw the same thing. This is over 40 people. And what they said that they saw in all 40 people in some sort of spin on this sort of description was a disc-shaped craft that performed acrobatic maneuvers.
So, okay, I know you said dish shaped,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
maybe it sounded a little bit not like dish shaped.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, disc shaped.
Perfect.
A disc shape that performed acrobatic maneuvers in the sky. And this was 69, so flying there was planes and stuff, obviously, but people they it was, you just saw a plane flying, they didn't do anything fancy in the sky, really. It was 1969, so this really had people going, and then a large or most of the witnesses also claimed that they lost track of time, and it varied depending on the person, and because in a couple of cases it was like 2 or 3 people together, you know what I mean, like, as we'll get into the Reed family. But yeah, but almost all of them, anywhere from like 20 minutes to a few hours. They said that they all, almost every one of them said they lost some track of time. So, and again, this happened in the Berkshires, which is in like way Western Mass, in the Highlands, sort of. It's like large swaths of wilderness, and then there's with little like towns, and like they're almost like villages, all throughout. It's very pretty area, very, very pretty area. So but the most famous people to come out of this reported sighting were the Reed family, and Thomas Reed was his name. Very close to my name, actually, Thomas. So they were heading home from their family restaurant that they owned, Village on the Green or something like that. Yeah, Village on the Green. And as they were, it was his mother driving, grandmother in the passenger seat. He was in the back with his sister. And as they're driving, they noticed glowing lights from beyond the trees. And then as they kept driving, they approached one of those wooden bridges that are covered, that you drive through, that you see. And as they were driving through, they see just lights just coming through the slats in the wood, and they light coming through. And then as they come out on the other side, kind of loses some time, and then all of a sudden they're in this hangar-like airfield area, and that Thomas describes as like just some of the way that the walls were. That we did not have the technology. They were like rounded, and just it was sort of the craziest thing you ever seen. He kind of likened it to light tubes in those old TVs. If you've ever seen like the old TVs with the weird light tubes, seeing that. And they were approached by the aliens that were they were approached by the aliens that seemed to be communicating with them telepathically. He wasn't too sure, and then he doesn't remember too much after that. And then all of a sudden, the next thing that he remembers is they're back in the car, all sort of dazed. Sister's still asleep, I believe, and the grandmother is now in the driver's seat, and the mother's in the passenger seat. So it was documented on, like I said, the reboot of Unsolved Mysteries, just that came out in July of 2020. There's actually a replica of the alleged vessel that they saw at the International UFO Museum in Roswell, New Mexico. And then this was kind of interesting. In 2015, witnesses raised funds to build the monument for it. They did it through other people that witnessed it, got together, and they raised with GoFundMe, whatever it was. And they built a monument on a piece of land. But then in 2019, the town took it down and said that they never got the proper permits for it, and they were mad about having to take it down because they had to waste town funds on taking down a non-approved monument, which the people claim that they got the approvals, and they knew, like, you don't build a monument without people knowing, and that it's just they're not too sure why the government is doing that. So, and that is what I have on the 1969 Berkshire UFO incident.
I feel like I have a lot of things. So yeah. I find it really, really, really hard to believe that they would go through the whole process of collecting the funds. And this is many people contributing to these funds to build this monument. I can't really wrap my head around not one of them knowing that there needed to be a permit. And then you kept it up for that long?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. What about you?
Yeah, no, that whole thing was weird, because as I'm doing the research, and I'm really interested in the story, and then that's sort of like the fun stuff at the end. Oh, it's on Netflix and blah blah blah, and that we throw in, and then I'm like, this is a really weird story, like that they got it in, and then do you have any thoughts as to why the town would take it down? I mean, I had
Yeah.
some weird thoughts or I had some thoughts that, and I was thinking maybe you're going a little too far with these conspiracies, Tom, or something. So, um,
So you might not be either that, or I'm right there with you, and we've both gone too far with them. But so first of all, 40 people saw the same thing. There's validity there. There's
yeah,
something undeniable there, whatever it was.
yeah,
40 people saw it. The lapse in memory, and then the vague-ish remembering
yeah.
almost feels Mandela or Mandela to me, Mandela effect to me. Um,
Interesting. Very interesting.
yeah, it's because yeah, 40 people is just a lot. There has to be, like I said, there has to be validity to it, and it really just the way the memory seems centered about it. But I stand to think if 40 people saw it, maybe way more than 40 people could have saw it, and they just never had the memory of it. Because if it's this definitive and this big and this noticeable, there's a pretty good chance more than 40 people did see it. What do you think?
That's and I love it. I love it because I hadn't thought of that, and that yeah, yeah, totally. Like who knows how many? So
Hmm.
if this is the case, and it's a Mandela effect. Now, do you want to briefly explain what Mandela effect is?
Yeah, so it actually stems. The name actually comes from
Nelson Mandela.
there we go. Drew a blank. I appreciate that from Nelson Mandela, and I will tell you firsthand that I remember my dad being shocked when he died again because he died in prison and
Hmm.
then he didn't, and then he died years later. So
Yes.
that's actually where the name comes from. Basically, what it seems to be. I apologize ahead of time for my description and
No, you're
feel
right.
free to chime in.
That's about it.
It's a false memory, but
Yeah,
it's a mass false memory.
exactly. That's
I-
exactly what it is. Yeah, there's been other instances of it. People with the movie with
Kazam,
Sinbad, Kazam.
yes.
Yes, that's a big
I
and
remember seeing that. I'm not even kidding you. I remember seeing it. I remember seeing it with my brother. I
yeah,
swear I watched it.
I had I was in on that one too. Yeah, I remember that event. It's really fascinating, and then people in and then there's so many other fascinating theories as to why it happens, like from alternate dimensions to I mean you can really go down some really interesting rabbit holes as to what's going on there from and some just completely sort of medical scientific. um
Hmm.
yeah, it's really a really fascinating case, but I love that tie-in. Like that's I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah,
Cool. I'm glad you liked it.
yeah, very cool.
So are you feeling like time travel or what are you feeling?
Well, I mean, so it could be like I was thinking like now that you brought up the Mandela effect, I mean, then my mind does go to like an alternate dimension, something like that. Um, but I, you know, I don't know unless I mean this is 69, and I mean unless this is some sort of government ship that is just ahead of its time. But I mean it was still 69. I don't know that sun could in like it still doesn't account for the loss in time. The people, so and the those the memories of the hangar and stuff like that. This one's got, I mean, like I'm almost I'm thinking this might be a real deal, like 40 people,
Yeah.
like, and like I'm a skeptic. I don't think I said that at the top, but like I'm a skeptic, but I want all of it to be real. all of it. I wanted it all to be real, time travel, dimensions, hauntings, just everything, you know. But until I experience it, I'm a little bit skeptic. I'm always going to wonder and look at for scientific. But I mean, over 40 people, almost, describing almost the same thing. Like you said, this, and then you're tying with the Mandela effect. I mean, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's where I am. I'm cautiously optimistic about these things, and I want them all to be real, but there's it's hard to discount 40 people having the same experience or seeing the same thing. It's I really in my gut this feels like a real thing to me.
And then the whole weirdness with the monument. That
Yeah.
too, like if that ties in, like that's it's I some sort of just the town wants to get past it, doesn't want future generations to be talking. I don't know. There's so my mind goes 100 different ways with that, but
Yeah.
that's just a weird detail that plays in 30 years late 40 years later. You know what I mean? Like so. Um, Very interesting. Very, very interesting case this was.
Very much so. It's a great choice. I'm actually super glad you did it. And I don't know, do you have anything else to add?
No, that's what I get on it.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us next week when we set up camp in Rhode Island. Until then, happy camping.
Thanks, guys.